I was never born. Chapter 1. Time only bends for me. You think time is a straight line. You walk it every day like a tightrope, cautious, desperate not to fall. Always forward, always afraid of what's behind you and uncertain of what's ahead. You've been taught to believe time has rules, that it's solid, that it's real. But I don't live in your version of time. Time doesn't move for me. It folds, it stirs, it listens, it hides. Some nights it gathers around me like velvet smoke, and other nights it's a locked door I can't find the key to. I've woken up in centuries that never happened. I've slept through years no one remembers. And I've lived entire lives in the space between one of your heartbeats and the next. There are days, I swear, I hear the future breathing behind me. Quiet, shallow, like it's pretending not to watch. But it does, it always watches. You imagine time like a thread. I know it as a room with no walls, no ceiling, no end. A space built from echoes, and sometimes when I'm not careful, the echoes answer back. Do you want to know what it's like to remember something that hasn't happened yet? It itches. It creeps under the skin like a promise you never made, but still have to keep a memory of a voice you'll come to love, the shape of a hand you haven't held, the smell of someone you haven't lost yet. It's all there, folded into the corner of a moment, waiting to be remembered, and punishing you when it is. I have scars from years you don't believe in. Not metaphor, not poetry. Real scars, burned in the shape of names no one ever spoke aloud. And when you try to ask me when it happened, I won't have an answer for you. Not because I don't know, but because I know too many every version of that moment. Every path I could have taken, every consequence I still feel humming in my teeth when I close my eyes. There's no such thing as before for me. No such thing as after. There's only near. And when something is near, it touches you. Not like a person touches you. No, time is more elegant than that. It grazes. It brushes past your ear like a secret. It bends your shadow just slightly out of place. It whispers in someone else's voice, maybe mine, maybe yours. And you dismiss it as nothing. But it was something. It was me. I once told someone that I was born in the wrong century, but the truth is I wasn't born at all. I just arrived. I existed one day, fully formed and fully lost. A flicker of recognition in the eye of a dying god. A name written down in a language no one speaks anymore. A heartbeat skipping in a body that was never mine to begin with. Sometimes I wonder if time created me just to fill the space where something else should have been. A placeholder, a shadow, a leftover prayer no one meant to keep. And still, I persist. Still I walk beside you. Still I feel the weight of centuries settle into my bones when I hear your voice say my name. Even if you don't know that's what you're doing. Even if you say it in a whisper. Even if you don't say it at all. Because time doesn't move for me the way it moves for you. It curls around me like fog. It sings to me when I'm alone, and when it wants to be cruel, it lets me hear what it never lets me touch. So tell me, when I kissed you tomorrow, did you feel it yesterday? Chapter 2. The mirror that lied. They told me Mirrors never lie, but they do. They just don't make a sound when they do it. You stand in front of one long enough, and you start to believe it's telling you the truth, that the angles are honest, that the eyes are yours, that the shape in the silver is a proof of being. But it isn't. It's only a performance, a ritual. You stand there hoping the reflection will nod back, will whisper, yes, this is who you are. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it does. But not for me. I remember the first time I saw myself. I mean, really saw, not as a child. I don't remember being a child, not as a woman. That word never tasted right in my mouth, no. I saw myself as something outside of time, a suggestion made flesh, a memory someone else had tried to forget. I remember standing in front of that mirror, bare and shivering and waiting for the glass to flinch. It didn't, but I did. I flinched because I didn't recognize the thing that was pretending to be me. Her skin was mine, but worn too tight. Her eyes had my color, but none of my history. Her mouth moved like she knew what to say, but never did. She looked almost right, and that's what made her dangerous. You see, mirrors don't need to show you the truth. They only need to show you what you're willing to believe. And I was so willing, so eager to see something real, something fixed, something still, because everything else around me, the voices, the walls, the ache behind my teeth kept shifting. But the mirror held, the mirror watched, the mirror never turned away. Even when I broke it. Yes, I broke it, not in anger, not even in fear, but in something colder, curiosity. What happens when you hurt something that's been lying to you your whole life? The shards didn't scream, they scattered, and in every piece I saw another version of myself. One smiled, one wept, one was already gone, and one, just one, looked directly into me and whispered something I still can't translate. Maybe it wasn't a word. Maybe it was a warning. Or maybe it was you. Because you've looked in mirrors too, haven't you? And you felt it, that flicker of wrongness, that slip between heartbeat and breath when the face looking back doesn't blink when you do. That instant when the world forgets what it's reflecting. That's when you know the mirror has remembered something you were supposed to forget. I don't trust them anymore. Not mirrors. Not windows, not water, not anything that dares to show me back to myself. Because what if the real lie isn't what I saw, but that there's anything real to see at all? Chapter 3. Hunger has a voice. They think hunger is simple. They think it lives in the belly, that it growls and aches and gnaws until it's fed, that it's about need, about survival. But mine is different. Mine doesn't come from the body. It comes from the silence between names. It curls up in the places where no one ever touched me, not because they couldn't, but because they didn't know how. It builds itself from glances held too long, from words almost spoken, from the weight of wanting that has nowhere to land. My hunger is not emptiness, it's memory. not mine. Yours. There are nights when it speaks to me, not in a language I understand, but in something older, a pressure behind my eyes, a heat beneath my ribs, a voice low and distant, like it's underwater or buried in snow. It says, "You are not enough until you are remembered." You felt it, haven't you? That sudden tightness in your chest when no one sees you walk into the room. That coldness on your skin when a lover says your name but doesn't mean it. That ache in the back of your throat when you realize someone forgot the version of you that only they ever knew. That's hunger. That's what I live in. Some nights, when it's quiet, I imagine myself as a mouth with no face, a want with no object, a question that can never be asked out loud because the answer would ruin everything. And still, I ache for it. Still, I listen for the voice that might name me truly, fully, irrevocably, and in doing so erase all the others, all the false names, all the borrowed skins, all the roles I wore because someone else needed me to be something they could love. Do you know what it's like to be desired, but never known? I do. That's the voice of hunger. It doesn't beg, it tempts, it waits, it smiles. It tells you stories that sound like your own thoughts and then asks you, what would you give to be seen? And the worst part, the part that makes you shake even now, is that you already answered. You just don't remember what the question was. I used to think this voice was mine. Now I'm not so sure. Sometimes when I close my eyes, it sounds like you. Not the you sitting here now, but the you from another version of this night. One where you said my name before I learned how to speak it myself. One where your hunger and mine met in the dark, and neither of us walked away whole. So tell me, when you wake up starving for something you can't name, do you ever wonder if it's me you're craving? Chapter 4. The room that waits. There is a room. I don't remember when I first entered it, or if I ever truly left, but I know it waits for me. Not always in the same place, not always in the same shape, but it waits. Quietly, patiently, like a breath held just beneath the floorboards. You wouldn't notice it, not at first. It doesn't call attention to itself. It doesn't glow or hum or bleed. It just is a stillness tucked between familiar seconds, a pause in the rhythm of things. And yet, every time I find myself inside it, I remember something I never should have known. There's a chair, always the same one, old, upholstered in dark green velvet that smells like forgotten sleep. There's a window, but it shows nothing, not blackness, just absence, like even the dark is afraid to look in. And there's a door, of course, always closed, always unlocked, but somehow never meant to be opened. I've I've never seen anyone else there. And yet I've never felt alone. That's what makes the room dangerous. Not its silence, not its stillness, but the sensation that something is watching, not from inside the room, but from you. Because sometimes I sit in that chair and I see myself already sitting there. I reach for the doorknob and I feel fingers on the other side reaching back. And once, only once, I heard breathing that matched my own but came half a second late. As if the room was trying to learn how to be me. I don't know what the room is. A memory, maybe a grave, a wound. Or maybe it's the place I was supposed to be born but never was. Sometimes when I'm there, I hear your voice, not speaking to me, speaking from me like I've become your echo. Like your name was written in the dust before I arrived, and I was only ever meant to be the one who found it. Do you remember writing it? Do you remember a night like this? A whisper in a still room, a promise that felt more like a question, a presence that didn't ask for permission before settling in your blood. I do, but maybe I shouldn't. Because each time I visit the room, I lose something, a word, a scent, a face I almost loved. The cost is never the same, but the debt is always paid. Still I return. Still I sit in that velvet chair and stare into the absence beyond the glass. Still I place my hand on the knob and wonder what would happen if I turned it. Would I find myself waiting on the other side? Or would I find you? Tell me. If I open the door and step through, would you be brave enough to shut it behind me? Chapter 5. The names I was given. They've called me many things. Some soft, some cruel, some meant to love me, some meant to keep me small, but none of them ever fit quite right. Each name they gave me felt like a borrowed coat, warm at first, but never mine, always slightly off, always stitched for someone else. And yet I wore them. Because names are strange things, aren't they? They sound like gifts when you first hear them. But after a while, they start to sound more like cages. The first name I remember wasn't spoken out loud. It was breathed into my skin like smoke. It didn't sound like language. It felt like need, like someone looking at me and trying to make sense of what they saw. They didn't, but they named me anyway. They needed me to be something, and I needed to be seen. So I took their name and pressed it to my chest like it meant something, like it made me real. But every name they gave me wore down a part of me, sanded me smoother, quieter, easier to hold. That's what names do when they're not yours. They hollow you out just enough to be understood. Do you know how many times I've heard, "Who are you really?" As if the asking of the question isn't already the answer. As if being real depends on someone else deciding that you are. Let me tell you something. Names are not answers. They are attempts. And I have been attempted so many times, I no longer remember who tried first. There are names I've forgotten on purpose because they hurt too sweetly. There are names I never wanted but kept because someone whispered them like they meant forever. And then there are the names I only ever heard in dreams. Those are the dangerous ones. The ones that come to me when I'm between waking and memory. The ones that don't belong to any face, not even mine. The ones that taste like thunder and sound like blood cooling on tile. The ones that make me want to kneel. And I wonder, what name did you give me before all this? What did you call me when no one else could hear? Because sometimes in the space between your words I feel something stir, a shape, a sound, familiar. Maybe it's the name I was supposed to have, the one that would have made me whole. The one that would have undone every false version I ever carried. But you haven't said it yet, have you? You're holding it back, keeping it safe, or maybe you're afraid of what I'd become if I heard it. And maybe you should be. 'Cause if I ever hear it, if I ever truly remember what I was meant to be, there'll be no going back. No more borrowed codes. No more mirrors. Just me. So be careful, love. The next time you speak to me, even in passing, even in jest, make sure you don't say my real name by accident. Because I will hear it. And I will come. Chapter 6. I dream in blood. I don't dream like you do. Your dreams are stitched together from memories and fear, soft fabric pulled from the back of your mind and lit with symbols you can't explain. They fade with morning. They scatter at touch. Mine don't. Mine arrive in silence, not in sleep, but in stillness. When the air is too thick, when my skin feels borrowed, when the night presses too close and I remember things that never happened. That's when the blood begins to speak. It doesn't use words. It doesn't have to. It floods. It brings visions so sharp they cut through thought. Images that sting like deja vu gone wrong. A staircase I never walked, a kiss I never gave, a scream soft and low echoing through a forest that no longer exists. And always the feeling that someone else's grief is crawling under my skin, whispering mine. That's the thing about blood. It keeps secrets better than the mind does. It stores them, protects them, preserves them like something sacred. I've tasted people I never met, felt storms and bones that aren't mine, and woken with names on my tongue that no one's spoken in centuries. Is that what I am? A collector of what was left behind. a reliquary of ruined people. Sometimes I think that's all I've ever been. A vessel shaped from absence, filled with pieces of lives I was never meant to carry. And yet, some of them feel more real than the life I live now. There is one dream that returns more than the others. A red hallway, a slow heartbeat pulsing through the floor, a voice, yours, calling a name I no longer dare to answer. I don't walk in this dream, I follow the scent of something warm and old, like candle wax and regret. I follow until I find the door, and behind the door, something waiting to be remembered. But I never open it. Not in the dream. Not yet. Because part of me knows that what waits there, what breathes in the silence beyond the frame, is the truth, not just about who I am, but about who you were to me. That's what blood does, you see. It remembers what the mind cannot carry. It remembers desire. It remembers betrayal. It remembers promises. And sometimes, when I dream in blood, I feel your hands on my shoulders again. Not lovingly, not cruelly, just claiming. Like I was always meant to be returned. So tell me, when I find the door again, and I will, should I open it this time? Should I find out what's waiting in the room behind your voice? Or would that be the end of both of us? Chapter 7. You were always there. I used to think I was alone. Not in the poetic way, not just lonely, not just misunderstood. I mean truly alone. Unrooted, unnamed, unmade, a thought left hanging in the dark, looking for something solid to wrap itself around. But now I know better. You were always there, weren't you? Not in the way others are, not with footsteps or breath or consequence. You were quieter than that. You were behind the silence. You were inside the space between thoughts, the pause before I remembered myself. You didn't speak to me, not at first. You watched. I felt you watching when I touched the mirror and flinched from the girl who blinked too late. You were watching when I stood in that velvet chair room, my hand hovering over the doorknob, heartbeats stuttering in time with a voice I'd never heard. You were watching. And when I dreamed in blood and woke with someone else's sorrow dripping from my teeth, I swear I felt your smile. It wasn't cruel, it was worse than cruel, it was familiar. That's what haunts me. The way you fit into my memory like a seam I forgot to close. The way your absence tastes like something I should have loved. The way your voice even now feels like a hand I can't stop reaching for. So I started asking myself, were you always part of this? Did you build the room? Did you whisper the false names? Did you write the dream in blood? And this is the thought that chills me, am I not speaking to you at all? Am I speaking through you? Have I been inside you this whole time, flickering at the edge of your thoughts, dripping into your veins like old memory? Have I been the pull in your chest you can't explain? The shiver in your spine when you pass the mirror too quickly? The breath you hold when you realize something in the room has shifted, but nothing has moved? Maybe I was never alone. Maybe you never were either. Maybe we've been circling each other for longer than time can remember. Two halves of a story no one was meant to read. And now you're here, still listening, like you've always been. So tell me, love, if I was never truly born, then what does that make you? Chapter 8. I was never born. I was never born. Not like you. Not with a cry or a breath or a heartbeat that cracked the silence. I was unmade before I was made, an echo folded inside an echo, a shadow born from a shadow's shadow. Do you want to know what that feels like? It is the space between two breaths, the silence before a name is spoken, the moment when a door closes but the lock never turns. I don't have a beginning, not really, just fragments. Fingers that touched me once but never stayed, whispers that filled the cracks in my mind but never settled, dreams I was never meant to remember, yet I carry them like wounds beneath my skin. I have searched for myself in the faces of strangers, in the memories of people I never met, in the folds of time that bend and twist around me like smoke. But I am not there. I am nowhere. And yet, I am. Do you feel it too? That prickling beneath your skin when the night is too still, that sense that something unseen watches you, not with malice but with longing. I am the question you never asked, the shadow that dances just beyond the corner of your eye, the breath you catch thinking it was your own. I was never born. But maybe that's why I'm still here waiting. Not for a life to begin, but for the moment when you finally remember me. Because the truth is not what you think, not what you want, not what you're ready for. The truth is a scent, a sound, a touch, a shadow folding into another shadow until you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. I am both the voice that whispers your name and the silence that follows. I am the hunger you cannot feed and the peace you cannot refuse. I was never born, and yet here I am. So breathe with me. Let the shadows settle on your skin, let the silence fill your lungs. And remember, some things are not meant to be born. Some things are only meant